This is a redirect video slash review video for the Saga of Tanya the Evil Quad Shot Part 3, where we watch the final 4 episodes, 9, 10, 11, and 12. The final 4 episodes of the season. Next week on Part 4 of Quad Shot, we watch the movie, which is going to be the final kind of content of the show. As of now, I'm not sure if they plan on doing more, but that's going to be next week. So click in the link in the description below to go watch the reaction for episodes 9 through 12. And then come back here if you want to hear my full review of these episodes and my predictions for what the movie might hold and that kind of stuff. So yeah, click away now or be spoiled as to what happened in these episodes. Okay, so at the very end, Tanya basically says to all of her men that God is going to be destroyed or something like that. Like, God sucks, essentially. I am guessing, going forward, God is no longer going to allow her to use her magic anymore, which is going to be stifling. 100%, like, because that's the only way she can use her magic is to praise God. So if she's praising him out of utility more so than actually believing in what she's saying, then there's gonna be some consequences, and I'm sure the consequence already is just world war, just entirely. That is the consequence for not believing. But yeah, very, very interesting. I was actually interested too as well that they had supersonic rockets and tanks in like the First World War, which let me look it up because I kept saying it through the reaction that I didn't think that World War One had tanks. And I want to see if that is true. So I knew they had troop transports. But I didn't think they had tanks. Let's see. Okay, so they do have like light tanks. Like those big treaded, like massive tread tanks, kind of thing. Well, that's like Britain. I guess Britain did the massive tread tanks. So did the US as well. But did Germany do that? Germany did the big tread tanks as well, but they weren't the freaking tanks we saw there in the show. Those were the shoot, what were they? I think they were World War II tanks. Let me look it up real quick. World War II tanks. Where is it? Is it like modern tanks? I don't think it is. German tanks. Because it looked like a Panzer kind of thing, but I don't quite know. Let me look at this encyclopedia. Tank encyclopedia. That's funny. I don't think it'll be heavy. I don't think it's a Tiger tank. Is it? Oh god, is it actually a Tiger? No, it's not a Tiger tank. I don't think, anyways. That doesn't look like anything I saw on the show. Here, I can show you what I'm looking at. So, that kind of looks like the tank that we saw in the show. Probably not going to see it in this episode. Let me go back. Just after this, just after that. Did we get tanks? Trying to find the bit of the episode. Here, I'll just hide it for a second so I can skip through. Trying to find the one scene with the tanks. Okay, so here's the battlefield. Going forward, going forward. One moment. Pan shots of the battlefield. All the remaining troops that are scared. Cleanup duty, everyone's excited. Okay, so yeah, here's the tanks right here. Okay, so I'm trying to get a good shot of them. Because I want to pinpoint like what kind of tanks they use here. Okay, so that's the best shot I could think of. So this shot right here. Move this over here. So as you can see, like those tanks are definitely not World War I tanks, but it kind of looks like that tank a little bit. So it might be this one, but that's not the one that this one is. This is, wait, the origin. That might be the origin of the tank. Okay, so yeah, it might be this one. It actually literally might be that one. Because it's not that one. It's not that one. Let me look at the panzers. Ooh, it could be a panzer tank. Yeah. That one looks pretty legit. I mean, darn it. Okay, it's not that one. It's not that one. Okay, so it's either those ones. Let's look at the Panzer. Oops. Hold on. Panzer 1, 2. I don't think it's a tank destroyer. I'm pretty sure it's not a tank destroyer. Okay, not that one. Not a Panzer 2. No. Definitely not. No. Okay. So it's got to be between these three. That this is. But I feel like there was another shot that we saw like the side of the tank, but I'm not sure if it was like full on profile shot. So I'm not sure if we're gonna pinpoint exactly which tank it is, but it's either a heavy tank, which is this, or sorry, this one. This is a heavy tank, or classified as a heavy tank. Or it's either a Panzer 3 or 4. I think the Panzer 4 kind of looks more like it, but again, I don't remember like the profile shot of the tank. But it's like in the Panzer family, I think. But from what I've seen from let's see, this one. This is World War I tanks. The Panzer tanks were not in here. If anything, maybe Panzer 1, but definitely not 3 or 4. Yeah, I don't even see Panzer 1 here, even. Yeah, you see what I mean by the troop transports? Like, these are the troop transports with, like, the kind of big treads to, like, go over, like, the trenches and stuff. Like, they literally drove over trenches. So we haven't seen these, even, in the show. Like that. Oh, that's an American one. Never mind. Yeah, I mean the Germans had a tank project, super heavy tank project. Interesting prototype, light tank prototype. Did they actually have like a working tank at this time? That's interesting. Anyway, but yeah, it was interesting to see like a Panzer tank all of a sudden like in the battlefield. Like I'm just like, oh, okay, Jesus, because I thought at first like the progression of technology in World War I and World War II was the fact that the troop transports that they made in World War I were so powerful in the sense that they were heavily armored, able to transport lots of troops and actually push. Or turn the tide of battle essentially because they were able to drive over the trenches and able to transport troops with them and lay down heavy fire kind of thing while they're coming in. And then in World War II, the whole world looked at what they did in World War I, and I mean progressively over time throughout between the two wars, they developed tanks as well. And I'm no doubt Germany learned from their defeat because they had the entire world against them kind of thing, and the whole world had tanks too as well. Even though they were kind of like more troop transport more than anything, but they developed technology. Everybody else developed technology to the point where they can actually make panzer tanks and just whatever tanks they could have at the disposal at the time of World War II. Because that's when they started doing panzer tank stuff. Oops, wrong one. That one. I was gonna do World War II tanks. So I think I can go to the same kind of category I did on this one. So the light transport tank, light tank. Bunch of American tanks. Tons of American tanks. And British tanks and stuff. Modern armies. I forgot what Germany's flag looks like. German. Okay. Active military. These are like their actual tanks. They have a medium battle tank. That's kind of cool. I don't know. I don't think this shows us like every single tank. Jesus Christ, what is that? I don't remember seeing that. Jesus Christ. Land systems? It's like a quad cannon. Alright, it's like probably 2 cannons, but still. By country, here we go. What kind of tanks did they have? I don't think Nazi Germany had panzer tanks. It probably did, actually. Somewhere in here. Oh yeah, there you go. Panzer tanks. Panzer 2. Panzer 3. There you go. Panzer 3. Panzer 4. Panzer 5s. So on and so forth. In the, Nazi Germany. Okay. I didn't think they had to be Nazi Germany or they started doing panzer tanks. Because Panzer 1, 1935, a year later, Panzer 2, something like 6 or 7 years later, they started making other tanks. Three years later for the Panzer 3. The same year, Panzer 4. What the heck? Panzer 5 was 4 years later. Interesting. But obviously, not in World War One. Didn't they say somewhere in this episode like the date? Because that would also explain things. Let me skip ahead until maybe we get like some kind of date. I swore that they had some kind of date at some point. Actually, I think they had it quite a bit, but I don't think it's gonna be in that episode. Let me go back. Darn it. This is going to be interesting. What was that? Oh, okay. Never mind. That was just something else. Anyway, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Anyways, very, very interesting, though. They had Panzer 3s, 4 or 5s, whatever they were, in the battlefield that nobody else saw, essentially. So that was kind of interesting. Also, the kind of rogue mission by the Allied Kingdom, um, uh, trying to take out Tanya's squad over the sea. I'm guessing that's why they didn't incorporate the Allied Kingdom into the battle, because it was over the sea, like next to the Allied Kingdom territory. Um, that it was like allowed for them to like be there, kind of thing. I don't know. But I don't know. Very interesting that they used the tactics that I was thinking about, where like they made a bunch of trench stuff. Well, okay, my original idea was that they would fortify a bunker, booby trap the crap out of it, leave it, and let the enemy come in and fortify it, and then blow it up from the inside, kind of thing. But what actually happened was that they fortified like the whole trench area, and then the Empire dug underground underneath like their stuff, and they booby trapped it the crap out of it, and then blew it up, blowing up like a whole section of trench stuff, causing the tanks and flamethrower dudes to come in. Very, very interesting. So I'm wondering why they hid the fact that they had tanks up until now. Like that's kind of interesting. It looks like also that the other forces in the battle have a lot of mage groups. Like a lot. Like the allied forces have a crap ton of mage groups. And then there was the horse people too as well. The horse mages. They have like a lot of mage like equipment sitting there waiting for them. So we're probably gonna get some big battles in the movie for sure. If it's gonna be like a world war essentially, that's gonna be pretty cool to see what's gonna happen. I don't think Tanya is gonna be very powerful as she once was, kind of thing. Maybe God gives her like a little bit of power, kind of thing, just enough to do something, but not like massive amount. Because like if I was in that predicament and God gave me the choice of like basically like praise me to gain power, but for some reason I just like denied him, I could definitely see God just being like, no more power for you. I given you ample choices, whatever, no more power. And then, see what it's like with no God, essentially, and how powerful you are with no God. And then let Tanya realize that God is powerful and stuff like that. And like, then give in to like his wishes and stuff. But if all of this is going by the history books, technically, like it's because they've added mages and like power and like everything's kind of being, all of history is kind of being forced into like this one area essentially with technology and future tech and all that kind of stuff with that. It's gonna be interesting to see what else comes of it. I swear I saw one of these long-range artillery shells that launched hydrogen bombs or nuclear bombs, so that is gonna be interesting. I think that might have been the East Front that was doing it, but I'm not sure. I don't think they had a name plate for them. But we're definitely gonna see some big freaking battles with them. So yeah. Gonna be interesting, for sure. So, there you go. I don't think I have anything else to say, really. It's just me kind of spitballing kind of small ideas here and there. But overall, I think the season was pretty good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I focused more so on Tanya than, like, the other characters. That was, in, like, throughout the show. All, like, the kind of background men and her platoon and, like, all that kind of thing. Or her battalion, whatever we call it. Squadron. Except the one girl, I guess. The Victoria, or whatever her name is. She was pretty interesting here and there. So, with that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week for the finale of Quad Shot, the final Quad Shot, part 4, which is going to be the movie And then after that, on Patreon, nothing's gonna go up on the 31st because it's a fifth Friday. So sadly nothing that up. But let's see. Yeah, YouTube. There's no fifth Friday in February, so you're not gonna get anything new there. I think the next fifth Friday is May. So yeah, ways away. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week for part 4 of the Saga of Tanya the Evil. Thank you, everybody.